Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today on PeopleSoft Oracle Cloud Transformation. One term you'll hear this morning and throughout our presentation is Evosys Glide. It's our program for moving from on-premise to cloud, and we'll talk more about that. My name is Jeff Edmonius, and I am Vice President for our Public Sector and Education Practices here at Evosys. I've been working with the Oracle on-premise and cloud applications over the last 20 years, including ERP, HCM, CX, and campus solutions. Unfortunately, Dr. Chinara was not able to join us this morning, so I will do my best to cover his part. And I did bring in an assistant to help me today, as I have a 10-week-old puppy in my office. So I'm sure that anything I miss out, he's been on enough webinars over the last couple of weeks to be able to help out. If you do have questions as we go throughout the presentation, please click on your icon on the toolbar to submit your question. So as an agenda today, I've actually shortened our presentation a little bit, I think, to kind of hone in on some of the things that I think are important in this discussion. We're going to first talk about, why move to the cloud. And not in a lot of length, but enough thoughtful things to consider in that discussion. Then talk about our Evosys Glide to Cloud for PeopleSoft program, and then potential next steps. So why move? So really, what we're seeing, and I think we're seeing throughout the industry right now, of both public sector and higher education, is that we've seen a tipping point for the cloud. Most of the organizations that I talk to, are exploring cloud-first programs as they move forward with their applications. And really, it's kind of a response to the pace of change, whether it be regulations, innovation in technology, or just expectations from customers as they work with more modern applications in their daily lives. So they have those same expectations of the business systems that they use. So, if you're still on one of the legacy on-premise systems, and I had this discussion the other day of legacy versus on-premise, and as we move to the cloud era, we now do consider these on-premise as the legacy environment. Now they're still updated and supported, but really the innovation is being pushed into the cloud applications. So really the next, the question I'm really hearing now is, how to get started. Let's start first by, why move? Well, the first reason to move is just what we're seeing in the cloud applications, in particular the Oracle cloud applications. Coverage across all the major suites of functional applications, improved time to value, new revenue models, and the scalability to support your growth or being able to change with your environment. And by moving to the cloud, being future-proof from a technology standpoint, both from a security, from a continuous update scenario with the support of the applications. Typically what we're seeing is quarterly updates. So, versus, kind of the past model where you may have gone 2, 3, 5 years in between major upgrades of your applications. So now we're enabling that continuous improvement through the product set. Why move? Another reason, Gartner. They've now recognized the Oracle applications across the board for financial management, planning and analysis, and HCM, all as being in the top quadrant and leader for cloud applications. So really, Oracle's done a great job of putting out cloud applications that are top in the industry. I'd also like to point out here that we as Evosys also are proud of our recognition, having been placed into the Gartner quadrants as an implementer for the Oracle cloud applications. And we're really proud of that recognition. And the other thing you'll know, interestingly, is although we view ourselves as kind of an agile organization, we're in there and being compared with much, much larger firms with hundreds of thousands of employees. So really proud of that achievement. Why move? Well, what's that? One, we think, ask yourself some questions. Do you have timely insights to make your strategic decisions? Do you have the analytics and the reporting that you need? How do you consolidate financial reporting? And do you have information you need to forecast budget performance? Those are some things that maybe on the finance side, the controller CFO might want to think about. From the HCM side, similar, do you have the information, but also, are you able to do what if scenario modeling and predict your turnover within your organization? Maybe identify high performers. And really, are you able to better engage with your employees, making their career paths more visible and helping them to achieve more within your organization? Another thing is looking at, what are some of the things that you could do to make a business case to move to the cloud at this point? Tactically, if you've got an on-premise upgrade required, then you're going to have an expense and effort and time required to do that type of upgrade. So that's an opportunity to think about moving to the cloud. Or if maybe if the on-premise environment isn't working as you'd like, and you feel like you need to re-implement some of the functionality, that's another great time to look at cloud implementation. If you're going to have to make an investment in infrastructure, another great time. You're going to make those expenditures. This is a way to move that onto the cloud application instead of the on-premise data center. And finally, if you look at current timing, is there now government funding that you could at least apply a portion of to move your application base into the cloud? So those are some of the things, tactically maybe consider. From a more strategic standpoint is, really promoting the use of the latest innovations into the cloud, whether that be platform as a service type applications, analytics, Internet of Things, and AI, just to move your organization faster and make better decisions. Also, we're finding that on-premise support for applications is becoming increasingly difficult. As more and more firms put their emphasis and effort into the cloud. And once again, we talked a couple times about the need for improved analytics, and that's a great way to quickly improve your access to better data within your system. And being able to, one of the things we've consistently heard from our cloud customers in public sector and higher education has been in moving to the cloud, really improving their agility and ability to react to change. Over the last year, a lot of that's been just being able to support operations with everyone working remotely in different offices, which they couldn't have done before. So those are some considerations for why to move to the cloud. We will be sharing the presentation, so those are things that maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe you heard some new ideas. We'll be sharing those with you. So now, how do you move to the cloud? So, Evosys has implemented more than 1,100 customers to the Oracle Cloud. So in doing that, we've really developed a process and a program to make that much more streamlined and efficient. And we do this for all of the Oracle applications like PeopleSoft and eBusiness Suite. And we've also have created a similar program for SAP to cloud. And that program really includes several aspects. It's an approach and tools to make the process more streamlined and accurate and risk-free. It improves our quality and reduces effort in a number of areas. It also includes being able to leverage innovations, things like digital assistants, IoT, RPAs, which we're actually able now to incorporate RPAs into our implementation process to automate the to do process automation of things like testing. When you get your quarterly updates, being able to use these automated processes in order to take out the human requirement and the manual effort and automate those processes so that you can do regression testing when new updates come out. And we've done this with over 100 customers at this point across the various applications, and we've been extremely successful and very happy with the process. And I'll talk a little bit more about that now. So, Glide to Cloud. This is really a comprehensive program for moving from your on-premise applications to the cloud. It starts with our first step of assessment, and we're going to talk quite a bit more about that today. And ending with managed support service on the tail end after you've implemented your products. So we do an assessment very quickly up front in this process. We then go through an insight process where we will actually work with you to identify key performance indicators and metrics that we can work with you. Advisory services to bring about additional enhancements to your overall system. And then the implementation. This black circle is actually where most firms talk about implementation. That's one of these phases. And then finally, managed support to continuously assist adoption, updates to the system, additional training, or even enhancements. Once again, our approach incorporates a number of different innovations, and it can be suitable regardless of where you might be in your process of moving to the cloud. We're going to talk a bit today about the assessment, and that would be the first step that many would need to take. We provide strong project and change management with this program, and that's assisted by a number of accelerators and pre-built processes to improve the implementation and improve quality. We feel that our Glide process really helps to achieve the best value for our customers, reduces the risk in implementation, and through this advisory and support services, provide for continuous benefit realization throughout the project. So let's talk more about the assessment process. And as I said, I know a lot of our work with customers who are in the public sector and higher education have been on their on-premise applications for a very long time. And they know that they'd like to look at moving to the cloud, but they may not be ready to do it today. But they do wonder where to start. Well, this assessment process is really a great place to start. And it's very simple. The first step is we just need to connect with you. We'll actually explain our approach, and we'll sign some documents between the organizations so that you feel comfortable that we're not sharing any of your organizational secrets. Then we'd execute. Now, if you're working with PeopleSoft, you're going to be very familiar with SQR. And basically, we have developed a set of tools based on SQR to do an assessment of your system. With that, we're going to provide you instructions, guidance, and the tool, which will then provide a set of output files that we will analyze. And that's in our last step here. So we do the analysis of those outputs, create an assessment report, and we may have to actually work with you and validate some of what we find in the system and confirm that that's what your expectation is of how your system's working and how your process is set up. But that's part of that process as well. Let me give you a little bit of some visualization of what that might look like. So when we run the tool set to do the assessment, that's going to give us kind of a visual snapshot of your application's landscape. It's going to give us some insight into the modules that you're using, key structures, and the different customizations and reports and extensions that you may have applied. We're also going to get information on your transactional volumes and how things are being used and perhaps level of adoption and usage a lot of times what we find when we run this assessment, and an organization will have a lot of customizations in their on-premise system. But what we'll find when we run the assessment, the actual usage of those customizations is not very high. So that's an opportunity, obviously, as you move to the cloud to either move to an embedded function or eliminate it altogether if something is used. So next step after that is we'll do a mapping of the various modules. So looking at modules going from financials to cloud financials, e-procurement to cloud self-service procurement. I'm not going to read through the list. As I said, you'll have this deck, but basically, as part of our process, we're going to map module to module from your current legacy environment to the cloud. Now, the one I will point out for those folks that we haven't hired, right now, campus solutions to cloud is not an automated process, but that is one that we go through manually. Excuse me, the puppy is getting out of hand. But we'll do that mapping of the modules, and then for each module, we'll take that down another level. We're going to look at the processes embedded in a particular module. So we'll look at a number of features within that particular module. In this case, here's an example for general ledger, but you might see the same thing across procurement, HCM, payroll, all the applications based upon the functionality, both within your current legacy environment that we see here in the blue on the left, and then the cloud environment indicated in the gray and dark lettering. So what we're going to do is we're going to map those modules, and what we do expect to see based upon the advancements that we're seeing in the cloud is we're actually going to see a number of functions and processes available to you in the cloud that you don't have currently in your on-premise PeopleSoft system. I know I spoke with a customer earlier this week, and they were talking about budget versioning being something that they didn't have available to them, and that's something that through the APM cloud functionality that would be available. And so we'll identify all those opportunities to provide additional functionality for your customers. Then the next, so those are the assessments. We'll provide a report and report that out to you. And then once you've completed the assessment, then if you choose to move forward with your implementation process to the cloud, then we'll start down the path with insight and with our insights and value-based analytics. So what we're going to do here is, now that we've completed the assessment, we have an understanding of your current legacy environment, we're going to talk about what are the opportunities that you have to improve based upon the cloud applications. We'll identify processes and, for example, financial processes, payment processing cycle time, or revenue recognition, receivables collections, and we'll identify those processes, and we have also identified for those KPIs and benchmarks that we can use to compare your current performance to what we would expect it to be through the cloud. And we'll identify those KPIs that then become part of our value-based analytics, where we've identified a KPI, baseline where you are currently, and then identify the opportunity to change. And throughout the implementation, we will implement those reporting processes. And at the end of implementation, those dashboards will continue to record the KPIs and provide you with the insights of how you are meeting those metrics that we'd outlined at the beginning of the project. And we actually, as part of our implementation, typically we'll set aside a portion of our implementation based upon meeting those KPIs. So something we really believe a lot in, and we're very happy to show you what we're able to do with our value-based analytics. The next thing we look at is kind of an advisory services. So this is Where previously we identified insights and KPIs, now we're looking at what are other maybe more overarching things that we can do. You know, you're going through this transformation. You know, how can we address all those customizations? You know, is it addressed via functionality in the cloud, or would we want to take advantage with the platform as a service capabilities of Oracle to extend within the same technology and security framework that you have for your cloud applications? Or it could be, you know, leveraging integration with the cloud that may have been more difficult in the past. And basically, you know, just looking at various things like chart of accounts and approval hierarchies, and you know, how can those be approved now that you have the capabilities of cloud? We've actually, as part of this process, we've identified more than 30 pre-built solutions that we've done for our customers, and we're able to deliver those for the most part free of charge as part of the implementation. We have a couple of exceptions, and those are only ones that have been extended out more as a product and for ongoing use and support. Also, now that we've moved through the advisory services and the assessment and the insights, when we get down to the implementation process, this is where we also, because of the experience with more than 1,100 customers in the cloud, all of the Oracle Cloud pillars, we've been able to develop some accelerators and pre-built modules to assist in the implementation process and reduce the risk and improve the quality. That includes scripts, tools, things like data migration. So we've actually got a data migration dashboard that allows you to fully monitor the migration process, identify exceptions, validate those, and reconcile the exceptions, and have full visibility throughout your process. You know, it allows for early validation and multi-stage reconciliation of your data. And we're going to start working with you early on in the project to identify the requirements for data migration. We've also got accelerators from the standpoint of customer reports. We have extensively developed reports in each of the functional areas around the cloud applications. And these are all based within the Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence tool, which is part and parcel, part of the product. So you have that capability available to you immediately upon your implementation. Excuse me. So these are pre-built, available, rapidly deployed, and then fully quality assured for your implementation. And finally, we've taken you through the implementation process. We've been able to leverage the tool sets to make it less risky, but we're still there for you. We've actually got some very economical managed service processes that we've put in place with complete help desk service. We work with you with Oracle support on the cloud applications. Oracle supports the functionality in the application. We help you with that interaction. We help you with understanding functional processes and how to use them once any updates are made to the application. We help you with any of those quarterly updates, any training. If you have new employees come on, or just maybe folks have forgotten something, we can provide additional training and enablement to help. We can also, those services are also very flexible. They can be used to provide additional reporting or custom transactions, or further expansion of the value-based dashboards that we've supplied with implementation. And I mentioned all those pieces because the way we do our managed service, we are open to providing any and all of those services. We provide basically a bucket of hours on a monthly basis to the organization at a very reasonable cost, and you're able to select with us how you want to leverage that capability. We offer rollover minutes, if you will, and so that if you don't use it all up front, you can continue to use that as you go forward. If you get ahead and need more early, then we can balance that out as well. So, I talked a little bit about why move to the cloud. I talked about our Evosys Glide transformation program. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an understanding of how we're able to put that program together and why we have those capabilities. So Evosys was established in 2006 and ever since has been an Oracle partner. We are Oracle Platinum Cloud Premier partner, having first implemented, starting with eBusiness Suite and PeopleSoft, and now ever since their inception, the cloud applications. We currently have over 1,500 consultants and have been recognized by Oracle in several areas for ERP and EPM as Partner of the Year, HCM Partner of the Year, as well as the HCM Development Partner of the Year. So basically for our work at enhancing and extending the Oracle applications. We do support all of the cloud pillars, ERP, HCM, EPM, supply chain, CRM, PaaS, and IaaS. And I'll go back to the student cloud again. While that is not an automatic part of our Glide transformation, as Oracle is being very thoughtful in the rollout of the student applications moving forward, that is something that we can work with you to move to at least pieces of, and eventually all of the Oracle Student Cloud. Many of our higher ed customers at this point have started to move to the student financial planning as a first step to greatly expand the capabilities in that area. Once again, we've got a proven methodology and very experienced change management. We've got accelerators and accelerators. So finally, what I did shorten this presentation a little bit, and the real reason for that was what we've been finding as we've gone through this presentation is it can be a lot to think about to move forward in the whole transformation to cloud. What's really important is the first step, and that is go ahead doing an assessment. We can schedule that. Basically, our assessment process is executed in 2 or 3 weeks, which just gives us time to run the assessment tool with you, to do our analysis, and then to come back and report findings. So it's a great first step, can be done quickly, and help you in your journey to the cloud and decision process. Once again, we'd be happy to work with you, answer any questions that you might have. We are doing assessments with quite a few customers currently, similar to starting from a discussion like this and quickly going down the path to execute an assessment process and start their journey. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope this presentation was interesting. Once again, we will share it with you. So if you have more questions based upon what you receive, please let me know. You'll have my email address, and it's been my pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. Thank you all.